Do you remember the interrogation scene? The flickering lights, the rusty table. The moment Batman slams the Joker's head into the mirror. In that dark room, Heath Ledger's Joker looked Christian Bale in the eye and said two words that still haunt fans today. Forever.
I think you and I are destined to do this forever.
You'll be in a better jail forever.
For 17 years, we thought this was just a great line of dialogue, but it wasn't. It was a promise. What if I told you that Christopher Nolan had a very different plan for the end of his trilogy? A plan where the Joker didn't disappear. A plan where the story didn't end with Bane in a sewer, but with the Clown Prince of Crime in a courtroom. Today, in 2025, the Dark Knight trilogy is still the gold standard of superhero movies. But the trilogy we saw is not the one they originally designed. There was a secret blueprint, a phantom sequel that vanished the moment Heath Ledger passed away. This is the story of the movie we never got to see. This is Nolan's original plan for The Dark Knight 4. To understand the secret fourth movie, we have to go back to the very beginning. The year is 2005. Christopher Nolan and his writer David Goyer are sitting in a garage trying to figure out how to bring Batman back to life after the disaster of Batman and Robin. They didn't just write one movie, they wrote a rough outline for a full trilogy. And looking at this outline today, it is shocking how different it was from what we actually got. Here was the original plan. Movie 1 was Batman Begins. That stayed the same. But movie 2? It was supposed to be very different. In the original outline, the Joker shows up, but he doesn't destroy the city alone. The movie was going to focus on the friendship between Bruce Wayne and Harvey Dent. At the very end of movie 2, the Joker was supposed to throw acid in Harvey Dent's face. That was the cliffhanger. That means the movie we know as The Dark Knight was originally going to be two separate films. In the original outline, the third movie was going to be completely different. It wouldn't have been about Bane breaking Batman's back. It was going to be about the trial of the Joker. Imagine this. The entire third film would have taken place in a courtroom. The Joker sitting in the defendant's chair, turning the trial into a media circus. Meanwhile, a scarred Harvey Dent, now Two-Face, would be running wild in the streets of Gotham. So why didn't this happen? Well, when Nolan started writing The Dark Knight in 2007, he realized something important. He didn't want to save the good stuff for later. He took the ending of the second movie and the plot of the third movie and smashed them together. He put the Joker's chaos and Harvey's fall into one giant masterpiece. But even after combining the stories, there was still one massive loose end. The Joker was still alive. Let's travel back to January 2008. The Dark Knight has finished filming, but it hasn't been released yet. Nobody has seen Heath Ledger's performance. Nobody knows it will win an Oscar. But Christopher Nolan knew. He knew he had captured lightning in a bottle. Heath Ledger was incredibly proud of his work. His family has confirmed that he planned to come back. He loved working with Nolan. And logically, the story was set up for his return. At the end of the second movie, the Joker is hanging upside down, laughing. He isn't killed, he is caught. This brings us to the secret plan. If Heath Ledger had lived, the third movie, The Dark Knight Rises, would have looked completely different. It likely wouldn't have been the finale. It would have been the middle chapter of a larger saga. Here is what insiders and script leaks suggest would have happened. The Joker would have been in Blackgate Prison or Arkham Asylum. But he wouldn't have stayed quiet. Just like Hannibal Lecter in The Silence of the Lambs, the Joker would have been the mind game villain in the shadows. Nolan loves realistic threats. In this version of the story, the Joker wouldn't need bombs or knives. He would use his words. Imagine a Gotham City where the Joker is locked up, but his followers are still out there. He would be manipulating events from inside his cell, perhaps turning the city against Batman without ever lifting a finger. We know that Nolan hates repeating himself. He wouldn't have done another terrorist attack movie immediately. The trial of the Joker concept from the original outline would have likely returned. Picture the scene. Christian Bale's Bruce Wayne sitting in the audience, watching Heath Ledger's Joker cross-examine witnesses. The Joker wouldn't care about going to jail. He would use the trial to expose the corruption of Gotham, revealing secrets that Batman tried to hide. This leads to the biggest change, the villain. We know that Tom Hardy gave an amazing performance as Bane, But Bane was a physical threat. He was a brute, designed to break an older, weaker Batman. If Ledger was alive, Batman wouldn't have retired for 8 years. He would have been hunting the remnants of the Joker's gang. The story wouldn't be about rising from a broken back. It would be about the psychological war, and this is where the studio stepped in with a crazy idea. After The Dark Knight made $1 billion, Warner Brothers was desperate. They wanted to keep the momentum going, and they had a specific actor in mind. David Goyer admitted that at the premiere, the head of the studio cornered him. The executive said, "You have to do the Riddler. And we want Leonardo DiCaprio." Can you imagine that? Leonardo DiCaprio as the Riddler, going head-to-head with Christian Bale and Heath Ledger. The studio thought the Riddler was similar to the Joker, a guy who leaves puzzles and plays tricks. They wanted to recreate the magic, but Christopher Nolan said no. He famously refused to just do another version of the same villain. However, if Heath Ledger was still there, the dynamic would have changed. The Joker was the agent of chaos. To balance him, you wouldn't need Bane. You would need someone cold and calculated. There is a strong theory that the third movie would have focused on the mental breakdown of Batman. With the Joker whispering in his ear from prison and a new villain attacking his mind, Bruce Wayne would have been pushed to the edge. This brings us to the concept of The Dark Knight 4. You see, Nolan and Bale always said they would only do 3 movies, but that rule was made after Heath died. When they lost their main villain, they had to wrap up the story quickly. They had to jump forward 8 years. They had to make Bruce Wayne old and tired to justify ending the series. But if the Joker was alive, the story would have needed room to breathe. If the third movie had focused on the Joker's trial and the psychological war, Batman wouldn't have been ready to retire yet. The story of his death and rebirth would have been pushed to a 4th film. The trilogy we know feels compressed. Batman retires, comes back, breaks his back, heals, and saves the city, all in one movie. If Ledger had lived, that story would have been spread out. Movie 3 would be the psychological war. Movie 4 would be the physical war, the true finale. Let's reconstruct the scenes we missed. Based on Nolan's style and the themes of the trilogy, we can imagine what these moments would have looked like. First, the prison escape. In The Dark Knight Rises, Bane breaks open Blackgate Prison. Thousands of criminals run into the street. In the novel version of the movie, there is a chilling detail. It mentions that the Joker was the sole inmate left in Arkham Asylum. It hints that he might have escaped during the chaos. If Ledger was there, that scene would have been the terrifying centerpiece of the film. Imagine Bane breaking open the doors, not to free a generic army, but to shake the hand of the Joker. The man who broke the bat, meeting the man who broke the mind. Second, the judge scene. Do you remember the scene where the Scarecrow is sitting on a giant pile of desks, acting as a judge in a kangaroo court? He sentences people to death or exile. Many fans and insiders believe that role was written for the Joker. It makes perfect sense. The Joker loves twisting the rules of society. Seeing him in a judge's robe, banging a gavel, and laughing as he sentences the rich and powerful of Gotham. It fits his character perfectly. It would have been funny, scary, and iconic. But without Heath, Nolan couldn't do it. He respected Heath too much to recast the role. He respected him too much to use CGI or unused footage. So he simply wrote the Joker out of the script entirely. In the movie, the Joker is never mentioned, not even once. It's like a ghost hole in the middle of the story. So what is the secret plan for The Dark Knight 4? It's the realization that The Dark Knight Rises was actually 2 movies squeezed into one. If history had gone differently, the timeline would look like this. 2005, Batman Begins, The Origin. 2008, The Dark Knight, The Escalation. 2012, The Shadow sequel, The Joker's Trial and the Mental War. 2015, The Dark Knight Returns, The Physical War, and Batman's End. We missed out on an entire chapter of the story. When Heath Ledger died in January 2008, the heart of the franchise stopped beating for a moment. Christopher Nolan hesitated. He almost didn't come back. He said, "How many third movies are actually good?" He only returned because he found a way to finish the story without the Joker. He focused on the legacy of Bruce Wayne instead. And while The Dark Knight Rises is a great film, you can feel the absence of its greatest villain. There is a reason we are still talking about this in 2025. It's not just because we love Batman, it's because we love great acting. Heath Ledger didn't just play a comic book character. He created a monster that felt real. His performance changed Hollywood. Before him, superhero movies were seen as popcorn fun. After him, they were seen as art. He won the Academy Award, making history. We will never know the exact lines of dialogue that were never written. We will never see the look on Bruce Wayne's face when he walks into the interrogation room for round 2. But the beauty of Christopher Nolan's secret plan is that it allows us to dream. In our minds, the Joker is still sitting in that cell. He is still smiling. He is still waiting for his phone call. The trilogy we got is a masterpiece of cinema. It stands tall as a complete story with a beginning, a middle, and an end. But somewhere in the multiverse, there is a version where the camera kept rolling. A version where the interrogation never ended. A version where they really did do this. Forever. What do you think? Would you have preferred a 4-movie saga with the Joker returning? Or was the ending we got perfect? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want more deep dives into the history of cinema, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.